What's up, everyone? My name's Ashton. I'm a transgender father of 2 boys. Welcome to my YouTube channel.
I'm Ashton, and I'm transgender. This is me. This is my life. I'm not going anywhere.
I wanted to start this channel about a year ago, but I just couldn't get to it at that time, so I'm starting it now. I have been medically transitioning for 8 months now. I've been on testosterone. There's so much unknown about the transgender world, I feel, because I get so many questions, and it surprises me that there are so many people out there who have absolutely no idea what it's like or what's involved, the medical aspects behind transitioning, what you have to go through, screening and talking to a psychiatrist, that it's not an easy process. It takes time and sometimes years in order to transition. Not just the medical transition itself, but just the process of being seen by a psychiatrist and getting the go-ahead to actually move forward with your transition. I am here to answer any questions that you may have. I will not be offended by any of them. I do not get offended easily. So I am an open book. So you ask and I will try to answer you as best I can. I am only 8 months on testosterone, so I am also quite new to all this. So I'm also learning as well. I'm going to show you what it's like in the life of somebody who's transgender. All the obstacles that we do have to go through, what things are different in our lives. To talk about binding, packing, living daily life, washrooms, people referring to you by the right pronouns, social life, in the world of someone who's transgender is interesting, but not at the same time. Like it's very normal, but at the same time it can be complicated, and partly because of, I think, mostly internal anxiety. But there was a time when going out was terrifying, because I knew that as soon as I went out, I'd have to think of all these different things. What bathrooms to use, if I'd be bullied or, called out, or, it's scary. There's so many things. Do you pass as the gender you identify as? Psychological aspects of transitioning, physical aspects of transitioning, social aspects of transitioning, how it affects my children, my family, friends, everyone really. We will talk about metoidioplasty, phalloplasty, which are forms of bottom surgery that you can get. This is a safe place to ask those questions. Curiosities, my sexual orientation. Am I into men or am I into women? I've always been into men, and I'm still into men. So I identify as a gay man. Your sexual orientation and your gender identity are 2 different things. How you identify and what gender, if not both or none, you are interested in, whether it be sexual or non-sexual. They are 2 very different things. What types of surgeries, would I like to get, or if I'm going to get them at all. There's a whole load of stuff. But I also want to show you the life of raising kids as a transgender parent. So my story begins when I was 7, actually. Growing up, I was always very tomboy. I found I related more to the guys than I did with the girls. So it's kind of like you're in the middle and you just don't fit in anywhere. You kind of feel like an outcast all the time. So that was kind of how I always felt. Yeah, I grew up between two brothers. I have a younger brother and an older brother as well. Once I hit my 20s, I found myself going through a lot of different stages, different looks, I didn't know who the hell I was. I was all over the place. Yeah, and I got really messed up over it because you just don't know who the hell you are, and that sucks. But, you know, even in my teens and into my 20s, I wanted to transition, but I was naive. I thought that in order to transition, you had to get bottom surgery. And I didn't want bottom surgery. I was okay with what I have, and I still am. But I thought because you had to get bottom surgery that, you know, I was like, okay, well, I can't transition then because I don't want to do that. So I put it out of my head, and I just tried to live the gender that I was assigned at birth, even though it didn't match what gender I was in my head, in my mind. Yeah, so that was a struggle, you know. I had an epiphany, and I learned that you actually didn't have to get bottom surgery in order to transition. So that was awesome. That was like a new beginning. And then right away I was like, all right, I'm doing this. So I went and I sought help and began my transition. Though I am still very connected to my female side now. I don't have a problem with my female side, really. I just identify as male. I feel so much like me, like how I was supposed to be right from the beginning. Way more comfortable. And that is liberating. Very, very liberating. I get asked this all the time, how I became a mother. Well, I had kids before I transitioned. I was in an 8-year relationship, and yeah, I had 4 children with my ex. My 2 are now surviving, and they are 7 and 9 years old, 2 boys. They are going through this process with me. They understand what's happening and what I'm doing. The funny thing is that with children, they sometimes go off, you know, what they see and what they hear. So I've noticed sometimes the more male I look, the more they indulge that. They sometimes will call me he or him, and every now and then they'll call me dad. I guess it just depends on where we are, but I allow them to call me whatever they want to. So that's their choice. If they want to call me mom, they can call me mom. And 99% of the time they do call me mom because I am their mom, you know, and I will never take that side of myself away from them. So the most important thing that I can say about having kids and being transgender is it doesn't matter whether you are male or female. The kids, honestly, they don't care about that. All they care about is they have a loving parent who is always there for them. That's the most important thing. So, you know, being someone who is transgender, or if you're looking to transition, and you want to have kids, or you already have kids, don't be afraid. They go with it, and as long as you love them and they know that, then that's the best thing. That's all that matters. Another thing that I've always been interested in is, and I'm sure other people have too, is why. We don't know. Not fully, anyway. It could, as far as I know and what I've read, and I mean, if you guys know more than me, please let me know. But I think for me personally, how it feels for me and what I've read and the research I've done, that I think it's a mix of things, you know. I think it can be a mix of, you know, your upbringing, and also, you know, hormones. Just your natural hormones, hormones in the womb, hormones, growing up. My parents divorced actually when I was 7, so that kind of, the fact that I was 7 when this all started, and my parents divorced when I was 7, and all growing up, it was huge, 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 huge. Supreme Court battles, and that's a whole other thing to talk about, but that really put me in a really, 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 really bad place. So, as well as far as hormone levels, most start menstruation at around 11 or 12. And for me, I was almost 17 and I hadn't started menstruating yet. I actually had to take medication to start my period. So I guess you could say I was a late bloomer. When I came out to my family, that was a huge worry, obviously, because a lot of transgender individuals, a lot of the time they end up losing family and they end up losing friends. And I consider myself very lucky because I had a huge support system. When I came out to my brothers and my dad and my mom, they were very, very supportive of me. My mom just looked at me and she kind of nodded and she goes, I think I always knew. So it was no surprise to anyone in my family, really, at all. Even my friends, they were kind of like, okay, well, that explains a lot, So for me, it was, I guess it was always coming, it was always going to happen. So yeah, nobody was surprised about that. If you are afraid to come out to your family, look to your friends if you feel like they're going to be comfortable with that. But please do seek help. Don't try to bury it. If you're unsure of whether you want to transition or not, these things do take time. And I know it can be an absolute turmoil in your head, not knowing who you are. But you will eventually. Talking to people is very important. If you can't talk to your family, try to talk to friends. If you can't talk to friends, there are resources out there. Look online. There are so many resources out there where you can find help and support. And that's very important. Okay. If you can't do it alone, don't try to. Find help. I'm here. I'll do my best to help you. You can transition at any age you want. I look like I'm, pubescent, and actually I am. I'm actually going through puberty right now, literally. So my voice does crack. It's still going down. It's still lowering. We go through menopause too. So we go through puberty and menopause at the same time. So that's awesome. That's really exciting, because it it can be really difficult. Transgender men can still get pregnant. So you have to be very careful. Even though you're kind of forcing your body into menopause, it's sort of just shutting down. So if you're not careful, you actually can still get pregnant, and it is very unsafe for the fetus. Make sure you do not get pregnant if you're on testosterone. One thing that is interesting and exciting about testosterone is literally watching your body change, slowly but surely. I'm definitely hairier, and I'll definitely get hairier. So that's fun. They say if you want to know what you're going to look like, when you're fully transitioned, look at your siblings. Well, my siblings are both hairy, so yeah, I'll have a lot of manscaping to do if I get hairier than my brothers. Yeah, a lot of manscaping. Or waxing. Oh, I know what else I'll tell you about. My ex. What does my ex think about this? He's not happy about it. I did not leave him because I was transitioning, though. Our relationship was very toxic. So it at this point, he will talk to me on the phone and we'll text, but I don't talk to him in person. He won't even look at me. I imagine that for an ex-partner of somebody who has transitioned, that it can play on their minds as well. You know, because when you transition, it's not just you or me that's going through the transition. You know, your friends and your family and your spouses and ex-spouses are also going through that transition as well. So you really have to keep them in mind too. Even though we don't get along that well, you know, I have to understand where his mind might be at too, psychologically. Just because I transitioned to male does not mean that he is interested in men or could be bi or gay. It does not mean that at all. When I was with him, I was identifying as female, and he saw me as a female, but it will most likely be a psychological turmoil for them anyway. So I can understand where he's coming from that. He's angry about it, obviously. He's worried about the kids. That was a big thing that I got from him was, you are going to fuck your kids' life up. They're going to get bullied in school. They're going to go through depression. You are taking their mother away from them. Now they'll never have a mother again. These were all fears, you know, that he had. And I'm not going to lie, I had those fears too, actually, a little bit. But as I transitioned and as I talk to people and talk to psychiatrists, because transitioning does involve a psychiatrist. So yeah, I can understand how some spouses or ex-spouses can be scared. And I can assure you the kids are just fine and they will be fine. They do handle it very well. It's not a negative thing at all. And I was afraid at one point that it would be. I was afraid about, other parents, their friends at school, the questions that kids would ask them, and how my kids would be pressured to answer. So I try to be as open as possible. They're still young. So honestly, kids, they are so versatile and flexible. They just go with it. They don't care. Honestly, like, they just want, a parent who loves them, and they still refer to me as mom. You know, the transition as well is also really slow. So it's not like they're going to wake up the next day and all of a sudden, mom's a man. It doesn't work like that. It's very slow. So, honestly, they hardly even see it. It's gradual. So, yeah. So you will see a lot, obviously, you'll see a lot of the kids on this channel as well. And you'll see how they speak with me when we're out and about in public, how they handle the transition as children. Just, sort of a personal and social and medical aspect of a life as a transgender individual. I am totally open to questions. I am an open book. I will teach you, you can teach me. We can do this together. Being transgender, we really are no different from anyone else. We're still the same person. Our gender assigned at birth just doesn't match. So, as far as puberty, I know puberty is very, 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 very tricky when it comes to transitioning, especially if you are, wanting to transition in those teenage years. Under here, there's still boobs there. But, eventually they'll be gone. You know, I'm gonna be getting top surgery. Right now I wear a binder. It's a nice tight thing. Which we are going to talk about because there are safe ways and unsafe ways to bind. But I am excited because I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how I'm going to change, and how, you know, what aspects of myself are going to change. You're going to be on this journey with me, which is so cool. And one thing I am open to is talking about what everything looks like. So if you are curious, I'm not going to go and show you, but I will talk to you about it. Changes, what everything looks like. So if you are curious about that, I will talk about that if you would like to know about it. Because like I said, I am an open book. I pack. So I have sort of a bulge. I like to pack. But so those are options as well. You can pack, and there are many, 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 many different types of packers, and STP packers, and packing underwear, and yeah, so many options. So click that like button, subscribe. This, I think, is going to be so much fun, and so interesting and so educational. I hope that I can help as many people as possible. I bet many of you can help me, because you know, I'm human. I need help sometimes too. So this channel is pretty much going to be about my journey with my children. Life with my kids. Everyday life. Everyday life and how we live it.